TheSpaniard here, and I'm just going to phone up the Ministry of Justice. This is the Office of Judicial Appointments and the Conduct Ombudsman. Let's just ask a few questions about what goes on in court, see if we can get anywhere. Oh, hi. Did I come through to the Office of Judicial Appointments and the Conduct Ombudsman?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry to trouble you. I'm Mr. Janus, and I just had one or two quick questions because I did punch in Department of Constitutional Affairs, but it came up with this website. And I just had, as I said, well, in fact, one quick question. You know when... let's say someone's actually facing like a kind of criminal prosecution or whatever, and they go to, say, the magistrates or the kind of Crown Court, and the kind of concern, because I was a bit confused, because it's normally, on a criminal prosecution, it's the Crown Prosecution Service, isn't it, that is normally prosecuting the case, yeah? So they would work for, like, the Crown. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, gotcha. But when you've got, like, the judges in court, they also work for the Crown, though, don't they?
Well, it depends on what court it is. If it's magistrate, county, they all fall under Ministry of Justice.
Right.
What is regarding, sir?
Well, no, it was just a general inquiry. I was just wondering. I mean, I've been doing a bit of research into this, and I was just literally wondering how that kind of works, because I had a friend who he'd been into court. It was only magistrates. It was I think a car issue or something, and he was, the way in which he was dealt with or something, he wasn't too happy with, and he wasn't happy with one of the ways that, I think it was the clerk that actually kind of took over control of the court in the magistrates. So you had 3 magistrates in the magistrates court, and I must admit, I was under the impression that they were the guys or the women that were actually kind of acting as the judge, all 3 of them. But it was the clerk that got up and basically said that they were effectively running the court, and they, at his court case, they effectively it was the clerk that seemed to be running everything, which kind of seemed a bit weird, because obviously the clerk is a member of staff there, like a barrister or whatever, and they kind of work for the Crown. And when he wanted to complain, he was told that he had to then complain to the Chief Justice's clerk. And the Chief Justice's clerk then got a little bit funny with him, and he was then told that if he wished to complain about the Chief Justice's clerk, he could, but the complaint would be handled by the Chief Justice's clerk.
That would probably be the right procedure, because if you complain about a member of staff at the court, then it goes to the court manager or whoever is responsible for the customer service section. They deal with that accordingly, and if you're not happy with that, then it needs to be referred somewhere. I can give you the contact for that. No.
I mean, if it was don't get me wrong, I understand that, if you've got like a normal member of staff there and you want to complain, obviously the court manager, I suppose you just go up the line as you would do with any company, don't you? But when it was to deal with someone that's involved in the legal profession within the court, it went to the complaint on the website, the Ministry of Justice website, and the court's website. It says that it goes to the Chief Justice's clerk. Well, as I say, in this instance, my friend had the complaint with the clerk of the court, and that had to go to the Chief Justice's clerk, because the Chief Justice's clerk was responsible for the kind of legalities, the legal side of things, and on the legal profession side of things. But then the way that the Chief Justice's clerk had spoken to and dealt with the complaint itself, my friend then had a complaint with the Chief Justice's clerk. But according to the procedures, it's the Chief Justice's clerk that handles the complaint about himself. And I was just
So what
wondering.
you need to do, you need to put it, your friend will need to put it in writing to the complaint handling and inquiries team within the Ministry of Justice. They deal with such issues because we are different. We only deal with the. It even doesn't cover the aspect that you've just discussed with me.
Right,
We deal
okay.
with something completely different.
So what do you guys deal with then? You just deal with the actual court.
Sorry?
What aspect do you guys deal with then? 'Cause
Well, we are Judicial Appointments and Conduct Ombudsman's Office, and we deal with issues to do with appointments. If somebody applies for a judiciary post and they're not happy with the way it's been dealt with, then they will come to the Ombudsman and complain. And also, if somebody's not happy with the way the complaint was dealt with by the Office of Judicial Complaints, because they're the first tier, i.e. the conduct of a judge, then they will come to us. We're the second tier and not the first tier.
Right,
So
okay.
you need to go through the office. Your friend will have to go through the Office of Judicial Complaints first if they want to complain
Right.
about the judge. But if it's to deal with the staff, as you just said, the clerk, then that will need to go to the complaint handling and inquiries team that deals with court and tribunal service.
Right.
And Majesty's Court and Tribunal Service complaint handling team.
So
They deal with that. That's within the Ministry of Justice.
gotcha. Right, okay, I think I understand. So you're the higher level. So I've jumped.
But we're the second.
You're the second
we're not
level.
really, yes, Office of Judicial Complaint is, but that's to do with the conduct.
Right, gotcha. So
But if it's to do with the clerk, then you need to take it to the courts and tribunals complaint handling inquiries team,
yeah,
and they will deal with that. They will investigate that for your friend.
gotcha. So just because I'm on your website, I'm on the website now. I see it's all recently been rejigged and everything, so it looks quite a lot better than it was before. I think a couple of years back. But so I see obviously the Crown emblem on there.
We're now Ministry of Justice, though.
Huh?
We're known as Ministry of Justice now.
Yeah. But they've got the little Crown logo with the
Yeah.
lion and the unicorn and everything. So I take it that you guys represent the Crown anyway. Yeah, you work for the Crown.
Well, you will say that we do, but we're under Ministry of Justice.
Oh, sure. You're the Ministry of Justice, but you work for the Crown. Yeah.
That's right.
Gotcha. Right. So are you the same department that actually? I mean, obviously, you're linked in then, or the Ministry of Justice will
No,
appoint.
we are different. We're independent. We're the Judicial Appointment and Conduct Ombudsman. We really deal with that. As I just said earlier on, we really deal with issues to do with the conduct of a judge or appointment issues.
Yeah. No, I get that.
In the Ombudsman's remit.
I get that. But obviously, because you're part of the Ministry of Justice, though, yeah.
We are, but we're independent. Even though
But you're independent of the Ministry of
link
Justice.
doesn't mean we all do the same thing. We all do different organizations within the Ministry of Justice.
Sure. So just to clarify, you're part of the Ministry of Justice, but
That's right.
but you're independent of the Ministry of Justice, yeah.
That's right.
Right. How does that work then?
Well, that's how it works. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, sure. No, because just maybe I'm being dumb. I don't know, but like, let's put it this way: if I was part of Arsenal Football Club, and I worked for Arsenal Football Club, how can I be independent of Arsenal Football Club?
Because we're not part of the MOJ. I mean,
You're not part of the MOJ.
The Ombudsman's job is to investigate the handling of complaints regarding judicial appointment process and
Yeah.
matters involving judicial discipline or conduct.
Yeah. So you're not part of the MOJ.
Well, that's what I said earlier on at the beginning
Right.
of the conversation. We're not. That's why I said independent.
So you're independent. You're not part of the MOJ. But you're on the MOJ's website. I thought you guys were part of the MOJ.
Well, we have our own website. If you log on to it, it will take you straight to the Ministry of Justice because it covers everything. There are other organizations, so not just us, so the OJC and other tribunals involved.
So
links.
So just to get
it's just like a link.
Yeah. So I've got here, link to the head office. I can see it on it because I'm on the Ministry of Justice website, justice.gov.uk, and it's got obviously your page. So you guys, obviously, you're independent of the Ministry of Justice. You're not part of the Ministry of Justice, but you are part of the Ministry of Justice. Is that right? In a way.
Sorry?
So are you ultimately part of the Ministry of Justice? You're kind of, I don't get it, because you're saying that you're independent of the Ministry of Justice. So are you or aren't you?
The ombudsman's role to you, that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
So are you part of the Ministry of Justice?
Yes, I did say that at the beginning, so I keep repeating myself over and over, we are. But
you are?
Ombudsman is independent.
So you are part of the Ministry of Justice, but you're independent of the Ministry of Justice.
Yeah. Is there anything else I can help you with, sir?
I beg your pardon?
Is there anything else you want me to help you with?
No. So that's okay. So I mean, obviously, I've got to go back to a first tier kind of complaint thing, but the actual original kind of question that I was kind of alluding to was that obviously, so there's a department that kind of appoints judges, obviously, and they know what they're doing with regards to judges and the competency of judges. But yeah. You're right. Okay. Yeah. So, but the
when I'm saying the different offices that is part of the Ministry of Justice, because the Judicial Appointment Commission is a different one. It's different from OJC and it's different from us.
Yeah. Right. Gotcha. So the back to my kind of the original kind of question I was alluding to was that when you've got a criminal complaint and stuff, or someone's facing a criminal charge. Let's say it's Crown Court where you've got an actual judge rather than magistrates. So the judge, and obviously, their conduct will be dealt with by a different department, which is presumably part of the Ministry of Justice. But the judge works for the Crown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Crown Prosecution Service work for the Crown, right?
Yes.
Right. So how is that an independent court case?
Well, I cannot answer that question. You'll have to take that with them.
Yeah, I can't answer that either.
That question.
Right, okay, that's no worries. So just to get the definitive lowdown on this then, so the Judicial Appointments and Conduct Ombudsman
Judicial Appointments and Conduct Ombudsman
is part of the Ministry of Justice, but it's also not part of the Ministry of Justice and it's independent, yeah? Is that right? Hello? Hello? Well, I don't know if I'm any clearer on that point than I was when I started off. From what the young lady's saying, the Judicial Appointments and Conduct Ombudsman, which is based at 9.53 9th floor, The Tower, sounds like Lord of the Rings, 102 Petit France, London, SW1H9AJ, which is on the Ministry of Justice website. According to the young lady, who chopped and changed her mind a few times there, it is part of the Ministry of Justice, which works for the Crown, but it's also at the same time not part of the Ministry of Justice and is completely independent of the Ministry of Justice. But it is part of the Ministry of Justice, but it isn't part of the Ministry of Justice. So I hope that that call has kind of clarified things for everyone out there. And yeah, any queries, I guess, write to the Ministry of Justice. Anyway, El Spaniardo over and out. Big love. Take care.